Hello, third graders. So today, the activities are in a bit of a different order. First, we're going to start with the reading activity video and the reading activity pages. So we're going to start the video in just a second, or the reading in just a second, but I want to go over the activity that will be below this video. So when you open it up, it's an assessment. It's not really an assessment, but that's how we made it. You'll see this. It says vertebrae and invertebrate. Okay, so these are two of our vocabulary words that we're going to be learning about and using a lot today. So vertebrae means animals that have a backbone. Vertebrae, animals that have a backbone. Then we have invertebrate, which is animals that do not have a backbone. Okay, and another word for backbone is spine. Right? We may know that word a little bit more. Spine and backbone mean the same thing. They're the same meaning. So vertebrae, animals with a backbone. Vertebrae, animals without a backbone. And a backbone is a spine. Okay? So when you see this activity, and while you're listening and reading today, I want you to be looking. I know the pictures may be a little small on my screen right now, but you'll see them better when you do the activity. We have a human, a goldfish, a horse, a butterfly, an earthworm, a lobster, and a snake. Your job is to take a picture and drag it into where it fits, if it's an invertebrate or a vertebrate. Okay, and so while we're doing the activity today and the reading, it will make more sense. But I want you to be thinking about these animals so that you can have a really good understanding when you go and do the activity. Okay, so that's what how I want to introduce our vocabulary today and the activity. Okay. So we went over the vocabulary, and I want you also today, if it would help you, since we are doing nonfiction and we're learning a lot of details and information and facts, sometimes the best way is to jot down notes. So if you need to pause the video for a second and grab a notebook or a piece of paper and a marker or a crayon or a pencil or a pen, just so you can jot down some notes to help yourself remember these vocabulary words or maybe some important details that we point out today, that may really help you because we are going to be talking about vertebrates and invertebrates, animals, animal classifications for a little bit now. Okay? So like I said, we're going to be reading we're going to be reading vertebrae or invertebrate. Today is our reading activity video read along. So remember, our vertebrae is animals that have a backbone. Invertebrate is animals that do not, and that backbone is their spine. So scientists refer to the backbone as the spine. That's the doctor or the medical term, is to call it a spine. Okay, so we'll be keeping that activity in our heads, and let's get started with today's read aloud. So first I want to point out our picture and our caption, okay? So this caption says, scientists classify living things by different characteristics such as what is on their skin, if they lay eggs or have live babies, how they feed their babies, and whether they are warm-blooded or cold-blooded. Okay, so that's a pretty long caption, and a lot is going on in our image here, right? We can see maybe some snake skin, looks like maybe some crocodiles or alligators are hatching. I can't tell, maybe some feathers or fur, some kittens, dogs, almost like a wolf, a bird, and some sort of lizard reptile down here. Okay, so we're seeing a lot, and then we have, right, our person with the magnifying glass searching and discovering new things. So it's saying scientists classify, okay? And we'll talk more about classification or classifying animals in the read aloud video, okay? So also, since these are our text features and we're talking about nonfiction, what information can we gain from these two text features? What information is it giving us? Think about it for a second. So the caption is explaining the picture. It's really helpful when they add a caption because it helps us understand the picture better, right? And all of these pictures are going to relate to the text. We probably are going to talk about a snake and maybe some kittens and birds and crocodiles being hatched out of eggs. So the images have a purpose. They are there for a specific reason, okay? So let's get started with today's read aloud. Rattenborough here again. You have learned that scientists who study the animal kingdom classify animals into different groups based on different characteristics. Some characteristics scientists study are what makes up the animal's skin, such as hair or scales, whether animals give birth to live babies or lay eggs, whether mothers feed their babies milk from their own bodies, or whether animals are warm-blooded or cold-blooded. So this text really matched our caption really well, right? It was almost some of the same wording. So that's important to notice. Oops. Do you want to do that? There we go. All right, on to our next page. All right, let's look at our picture and our caption, our text features. Those are super important. The caption says, humans have a backbone and are classified as vertebrates. All right, so while we're reading this next page, I want you to be thinking about any notes that you could write down or any important facts that you need to remember. Okay. Another key characteristic that scientists study is whether animals have a backbone. Animals that have a backbone are called vertebrates. Humans are vertebrates. Place your hand on the back of your neck until you feel a bump. Now rub your hand up and down the middle of your back. Do you feel bumpy bones that run in a row down your back, from your neck down to your waist? That is your backbone. Another name for a backbone is a spine. The backbone or spine wraps around and protects an important part of your body called the spinal cord. The spinal cord is a bundle of nerves. Messages travel up and down your spinal cord from your brain to other parts of your body. This is the way that your brain sends signals telling the other parts of your body what to do. All right, so we just got a lot of information there. So if we look at our image and just we can, think about our own bodies. So we have this really long spine or backbone that connects our cranium, our head, our skull, all the way down to our tailbone to our waist. And within this spine, there's our spinal cord. And again, we'll talk more about our spinal cord and nerves in the read aloud. But in there is all these nerves that are intertwined together that connect to our brain. And that's how our brain tells our legs to move, tells our hands to move, tells us if we're touching something hot, move your hand away, you're going to burn yourself. It helps us feel pain, helps us, like I said, move, stop, everything. So those nerves, that spinal cord is super important. And that's why these bones, our spine, is almost built around it and protects it like a shell almost. Okay? Awesome job. So that's some pretty important information to know about our own bodies. All right, so as we read this out loud, try and record some more things in your notes that you're learning about vertebrates and examples of vertebrates, okay? Awesome. Let's look at these pages now. Okay, many other animals are also vertebrates. All mammals, reptiles, fish, and birds have a backbone, so they are all vertebrates. They have some type of spinal cord too. Animals with a backbone come in all different shapes and sizes. Apes, rhinos, horses, rabbits, bats, and yes, rats and humans too, are all mammals and vertebrates. Lizards, turtles, snakes, and crocodiles are reptiles and vertebrates. Huge sharks and tiny goldfish are also vertebrates. Small hummingbirds and large eagles are vertebrates too. Okay, so I'm going to pause there at the end of this page real quick. So we just learned a lot about the size of vertebrates, right? We're talking about small hummingbirds, and we're talking about very large eagles. We're talking about huge, giant apes and sharks, but also rats and turtles. They are all vertebrates. They have that backbone that we just saw. Now, their bodies don't look like ours, right? So theirs is going to look a little bit different, but they have that spinal cord, that cord of nerves that helps their body move and stop and go. And they have this their spine or their backbone that protects it, okay? Just like we do. So we are all vertebrates. We are in the same classification or the same group as apes and sharks and rats and hummingbirds, okay? So let's read the next page. But there are many more animals that do not have a backbone. Animals without a backbone are called invertebrates. Insects are the largest group in the animal kingdom. Insects are also the largest group of invertebrates. Insects includes flies, wasps, beetles, cockroaches, ladybugs, and butterflies. Other kinds of invertebrates include earthworms and spiders. Some interesting invertebrates live in the sea. Lobsters, shrimp, and crabs do not have a backbone. The giant octopus is an invertebrate as well. Have you ever seen a jellyfish or a starfish? They are also invertebrates. So these animals do not have a backbone or spinal cord. Okay, so the animals we just started talking about, we are now talking about invertebrates. First, we were talking about vertebrates that have the backbone and the spinal cord. And now we're talking about the invertebrates who do not have the backbone and do not have the same spinal cord that we vertebrates do. Okay, so now we're talking about a different group or a different classification. Okay, so we're going to pause there because now we have read some really good introductory information, and I think we can separate the two, invertebrates and vertebrates. All right, and you will be able to do the activity page, and you will be able to do this activity based on the information we read today. So good luck. Ask your teacher any questions if you have any troubles, and thank you for watching.